Good morning, and thank you all for being here. And UAB's coming off its second and final bye week of the season, headed to Tennessee this week for its final non-conference game of the season, 7 o'clock p.m. local time on ESPNU. With that, I'll open it up to Coach Clark for a statement and questions, and then we'll have Fitzgerald Molefor and Colby Ragland afterwards.
All right, morning, guys. Yeah, so coming off open date, really could not have come at a better time for us with a lot of guys bunged up and banged up after some tough fought games, and really came at a good time for us to really try and get some guys well. And we got some guys we'll just have to see about this week, but hopefully get some guys well that've been out and work on opponents. So for us, the open date really was a lot about working on, as always, working on ourselves, but really trying to work on more of the opponents down the road, specifically conference opponents. We've got some that's got an open date right before us, and then one that's got one maybe 2 weeks before us. So try to kind of look at all of our opponents, and more than anything, really get healthy and get on the road and do some recruiting. So obviously Tennessee's coming off a big win. They've played really well the last 3 weeks, 3 games. Go back to Mississippi State win, Alabama. They played very, very well, and then played really well against South Carolina. Obviously going to a hostile environment, and I know our guys are going to be looking forward to the challenge. Known Coach Pruitt for a good while, and a lot of those guys on the staff know they do a really good job, and we're going to have our work cut out for us, but looking forward to the challenge.
You spoke about Tennessee improvement specifically these last 3 weeks. How do you, how much of a focus is that to this team, considering that the early struggles Tennessee had this season?
Yeah, I mean, if you take them from the first game to now, they look like 2 different teams, and you can tell when a team buys into whatever that plan is. And, I always say wishbone or empty, they all work. It's a lot about buying in and believing. And, I think if you just looked at them, as we say, on the hoof, they looked as good as anybody. And probably felt early on like they might have been underachieving. But if you watch them now, boy, they are playing really, really hard, which is, to me, the first sign of what a team should look like. Are they playing hard? Are they improving? They're playing really well on the special teams. So I think they look like a good team. You look at the Alabama game, if they don't fumble that ball going into the end zone, I mean, that may, could be a different game, but they're right there. And so just very impressed with them.
Bill, how about Spencer? Will you be able to have him?
He's getting better. I mean, we literally had about a dozen guys that were on bikes last week and trying to get well. And so he's one of those guys. I think he did some things even as of yesterday that we had not seen him do. So we'll know a lot more about him this week. Obviously, we got some huge games after this game as well. So, we're trying to get a bunch of guys well this week. So we'll just have to it literally is a wait and see. But we should have all of them out on the field trying to do something today.
You spoke about that. You obviously got a bunch of guys been banged up. Lee, Noah, a bunch of these guys. How much does that go into keeping them healthy and keeping them ready for this stretch on conference relative to this game, which is non-conference?
Correct.
Which has no impact on a conference title.
Yeah, so I think all those things have to weigh into what we're deciding and thinking. And we were open this week. Southern Miss is open next week. Prior to us, so they're going to be getting a lot of guys well. We have to look at those things and consider those things. And I would say this is the next game, so it's super important to us. But a guy's got to be well. So if he's not ready to go, he won't be ready. And if he is, we'll get him. And I know that sounds kind of simplistic, but it's we won't push a guy back that's not ready, to answer that question.
But what can wins over this type of program do for your program?
I think there's always just the national recruiting spotlight. There's always about what do you do against somebody that's, I would say, probably has more advantages than you do from a financial standpoint and those type things. So, you always want to compare yourself to those guys. I think it's, once again, it's the next game. That's why we always say the next game's a big game. The next game's a championship game for us. So they're all big. But I think you always want to see, and our guys always want to see how they do on that stage.
How important is the experience that these guys have gained the last 2 seasons against Florida, specifically last year, relative just to the crowd size of the stadium? It's very similar to Tennessee.
Yeah, very similar. They were cheering and chanting the whole game. And they're going to come off this big win. And so they're going to be feeling good about themselves, and their crowd looked like they were really into the last game. So we're going to expect the same amount of noise and excitement from them. So, I think that Texas A&M game had to help us. Now, granted, 30-something guys that didn't play a lot, or 30-something guys we lost. So we had a lot of guys that didn't play, but we had a lot of guys that were in that experience, at least even on the sidelines or maybe playing special teams. So hopefully that'll help us.
And Tyler Johnson.
Tyler playing in the game. That's right.
In that situation
And he played well in that game. So hopefully he can repeat that.
Bill, how difficult are those Tennessee receivers to handle?
And I'm not an expert on the SEC because we got our own things to worry about. But if you watch, obviously I guess the guys at Alabama are probably considered the best, but they would have to be right there close. I mean, they are all of them big, dynamic, fast, catch the ball in traffic. And I mean, if you watch that game, you saw them throw the ball downfield probably more than I've seen them throw it downfield. And so that's a worry. I mean, obviously that's kind of what we try and do. So somebody that can run the football, multiple formations, and then who do you choose to cover, or double or whatever. So that, and that's what you're trying to do. That's what we try and do offensively. But they're very good.
On the other hand, do your receivers kind of have a chip on their shoulder coming into this game?
We really have not talked a lot about Tennessee. We'll start on that today, but I'm sure they do. And and I think they're going to be looking for motivation. We're always looking for motivation. I always say that I think any athlete looks for what are his motivations. So I think every player we got is going to want to show up on that stage and play well. And I would think our receiving core, it's really not our receiving core against theirs, but I mean that's just human nature to compare yourself and want to do well.
Speaking about the receivers that you mentioned, does that kind of change your game plan a little bit defensively? Because I know you play a lot of man coverages out there.
Yeah, we're always going to play man. We're always going to play man. We're going to mix zone in there. And, I just think that's who we are. We play man, and that's something I've been doing for, 20-something years. So I think we're always going to play man. That's who we are, and hopefully when we mix it with zone, we mix it at the right time. So.
Bill, how do you feel about Watkins being on the blend comp list?
Yeah, I think anything where a guy gets recognized, anybody in our program that gets recognized helps all of us, and every one of us have to keep our heads screwed on and straight and stay humble, and just remember it's about the guys around us. But, we want our guys to be recognized. And, Austin's a very humble kid. He's definitely a competitor, and you'll see that come out in him on the field. But he's very humble, and, so I'm proud for him, and just, keep playing well.
Tennessee had, you mentioned their special teams played well. They had 2 special teams touchdowns last week. How important is it, having guys like Nick Vogel and Kyle Greenwell able there? Kyle can get the punt off real quick, get it real far out there. Just in field position
Sure.
in this game and their special teams.
Yeah, it's a field possession game, and I remember talking to a guy years ago about what's it like playing in these games when you're and that was kind of maybe from an FCS standpoint, and we're not it's a little bit different now, but it's still who are their guys running down on kickoff, who are their guys athletically compared to our guys, and and I've always felt good about our special teams, and I think sometimes in the depth when you get some people hurt, that's maybe when you start seeing those backups and how good are they. So, hopefully we get some guys back, which now we've created some depth with those injuries, and we get guys coming back this week, which should make our special teams better. But, our specialists are doing a really good job. But they've got a really good special team. Should be a good battle.
Any other questions, Coach?
Your pregame, last-second talk, is that something you spend a lot of time on, or is it something that it just comes off the cuff and you react in the moment? How do you do that?
I'm pretty much into the moment. I have some things that we say, we touch on all 3 phases every week and just last-minute expectations. And, some guys they should know this. We've done this forever, and I'm totally different. I don't care if they've heard it 1,000 times. I'm going to say it one more time and remind them about the things that wins games and loses games. And, they're the same things week after week after week. And then I think there's always whatever that moment is, just the feel of our guys. But, you definitely want them ready when they come out of that tunnel.
All right.
Good?
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, guys. Thank you all. Have a good day.
We'll move linebacker Fitzgerald Molefor up to the podium. Fitz is a 3-year starter. He's one of those who have played at Florida and Texas A&M. So with that, we'll open up questions for Fitz.
This could be your third SEC stadium you've gone to play in, in your career here at UAB. What are your expectations for this season, and how valuable was that experience the past 2 years? Being in stadiums that large with about 100,000 people in them.
Obviously it's a great experience being able to play in that environment because usually those teams of that stature, they always draw a really big crowd, and the crowd and the fan is really engaged. So it's always just exciting, just to be in that atmosphere, in that SEC environment. It's always good competition. They have really good players as well. So every year it's just like, when we played Texas A&M and Florida the first year, just really exciting, just to get to figure out where we're really at.
When does the atmosphere subside and you don't really notice it when it comes time to the game? When does that wear off?
Definitely the first snap. As soon as the ball kicked off, can't really worry too much about that, just because, I feel like during the game, it's more important things that we have to figure out and pay attention to, rather than that, just because I just feel like that'll be more of a distraction at that point. It's nice just to look at, with pregame, but as soon as the game starts, it's time to go.
Are you a guy that looks around and takes all the atmosphere in, or is that does that work against you if you do that?
I'm not too sure if it works against me, if it does help. But in terms of looking at, usually we kind of get there early Friday and we get to the stadium, then we get to look at the stands, our locker, just to take everything in, take pictures if needed. And usually after that, I just kind of get that out of my system and just get focused on, getting to the game and just being able to do my best.
This defense has done a good job against the opponents that you play. Is that a scheme thing? Is it talent? What do you think?
I think it's a mixture of both. We have good coaches, that also put their players in position, to be able to make plays too as well. And also, we also have a lot of talented guys, that make a lot of plays and really fast. I'm sure you guys know them, the guys like, Chris and who else I could think of. Marino, of course, no-brainer, Jordan Smith, DB, Starlin, and Will Bowler. All those guys make up so many plays on a daily basis. And the great thing about them is they do it in practice too as well. So I'm not really too surprised when I see those guys making those plays. So, just I think it's a little bit of both.
Fitz, when you have the resume that you have on defense and you guys have been playing so well and you're going to play an SEC team, do you guys kind of have a chip on your shoulder and you want to prove that, hey man, this defense can play with SEC teams too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just like every week, man, we take it offensive if, we don't like it if other teams moving the ball, scoring, or whatever the case, having their way with us. So, no matter who we're playing every single week, we're going to try our best defensively to get stops and get the ball back and give it to the offense. It's a good opportunity to be able to have the ability to showcase it against Tennessee. But, and we have really good players on the outside, really good O-line, good running back. So, and they have a good quarterback as well too. So it's going to be a challenge this weekend. We'll see.
How do you approach a game week, whether it's Tennessee or anybody, to where you're at your peak emotional and preparation level on Saturday? How difficult is that? How do you approach that?
Well, during the week, usually I know what we do is, try to get as much film sessions as possible, meeting times, extra lifts as possible, and, just try our hardest and get it, to really take advantage of those practice reps because, when you do that, you can really live with the results of what happened Saturday. So, win, lose, tie, draw, whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, you can say, hey, I try to put myself in the best position, to be successful, and, whatever happens, happens. So from in terms of, getting ready standpoint, it's just the same thing every week, just the same thing, more of the same.
Only 2 interceptions this season, both by Bowler, but y'all second nationally in fumbles. We're tied with Illinois first for the bye week. How important is that going to be to kind of win that turnover game in this game, specifically being able to take advantage of those chances?
Yeah, but see, the turnover margin and that battle is huge. That's how a lot of games are win or lost. So, that's one thing we pride ourselves to, just like practice habits, being in practice, we have to rep getting away, take away drills, rep that, so we understand that that's huge for our job on the defense, getting the ball back and giving it to the guys on offense, making sure they can score the ball. So, that's one thing that we're probably going to really make a big emphasis on this week too. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it works well and, win the game.
Any other questions for Fitz?
Fitz, what would a win over Tennessee mean to the program and also to the league?
Man, that would be huge. That would be a great win just to add another win to the win column. Any Saturday, getting a win in this level of competition is hard. There's a lot of really good teams, a lot of really good football players. So any win on any Saturday is really good. But against Tennessee, against an SEC opponent, probably would be a lot greater just because of magnitude of that conference.
All right. Thank you, Fitz.
Thanks.
Now we have left tackle Colby Ragland. The Blazers have given up only 5 sacks this whole year, which is the second lowest total in the nation. So with that, I'll turn over to Colby. And we'll open it up for questions.
Kobe, obviously, going to play an SEC team, there's the whole idea, SEC defense, especially their defensive line. But y'all play against, a really great front seven yourself in practice. So, how big is that experience, going against these guys in practice relative to what you'll be facing in this game?
I think that is very important just because of the simple standpoint that our defenses, we know they're big, strong, fast, and we know that's what the SEC is all about, big bodies, they're fast, they're strong, you know what I'm saying? You really have to be on your A game and at the same time expect any and everything out of them. And just going against our defense, we get that on a daily basis, so it just prepares us better for what to expect.
Kobe, what would a win over a team like Tennessee do for this program?
I think it'll be great from an aspect as far as they're an SEC school, and like you say, anytime you can get a win over any opponent is good. But just knowing, all right, this is an SEC opponent, you know what I'm saying, and we are Conference USA, which we have talent just like they do. But to get a win over a team like that, I think it does a lot of great things. It gives the whole team confidence. Of course, we're gonna, like we say, we're gonna go in there with a chip on our shoulder, just like we do every week, with something to prove. And I think as long as you have something to prove, you can always be satisfied with the results.
What do you have to prove?
Just from a standpoint of it's the next game. It's an SEC opponent. You wanna win every game, but like I say, it's SEC opponent. You're on a bigger stage. ESPN. Everybody is watching, like you said, 100,000 strong in the stadium. That atmosphere is like unbeatable. That's what you live for. Those are the games that you live for.
Going into an environment like this, a big raucous crowd, much like A&M last year. Whether Lee or Andrew start this week, both of them have experienced that with Andrew playing at A&M last year. How important is that to have these guys experience, especially at the center position, knowing that you're going to have communication in such a large environment?
I was there from a standpoint. I was there last year, but I was on the sidelines. But just talking to Andrew last year from the Texas A&M game, knowing that was his first game starting, and the magnitude of the crowd and how loud it was, I think it's very important because everybody knows the play starts with the center. If the center can't get the ball off, then the play is dead from the jump. So just knowing that both of them has that experience, and talking to Drew last year, it was loud to me on the sideline, so I figured it was loud to him. But he said that although it was loud, he was still able to hear. And just knowing that he has that confidence and Lee has that confidence, it makes everything better.
A lot of great receivers in the Southeastern Conference. You guys have 3 really good ones too.
Yes, sir.
How motivated do you think they will be Saturday?
I love our guys. I think we have one of the top receiving corps in the nation. I see them put the work in. I've seen all 3 of them put the work in, and I know the way that I want to put it is they're going to be licking their chops. That's the game. Like I say, everybody is looking forward to. But those 3 guys, I know for a fact that they are going to want to take advantage of every situation, every target, every reception they get. I know they're going to try to do something special. So I'm excited to see it myself.
Anything else for Colby? All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colby.
No problem.
Okay, man.